This is Riley Porter with Seattle Sumo. This is a commentary track for Day 4 of the Haru 1960 Honbasho. The official coverage for this tournament can be found on the Japan Sumo Association's YouTube channel. I'd recommend subscribing to that channel. It makes it easier to jump back into these playlists and watch archive videos. As with the last day's coverage, or the last 2 days' coverage, this one is locked behind a membership wall. Opening day's action is free for, I think, all tournaments on the channel, the Sumo Association's channel. But days 2 through 15 are locked behind a membership wall, and I think that goes for all tournaments. Membership right now is about $8 a month, an investment I would recommend. If you're a fan of sumo, especially a fan of these older bouts, this is definitely the place to get the coverage. Well, without further ado, I'll give instructions for how to begin here. I'll count backwards from 3. 3, 2, 1. As I hit the N in 1, I'm pressing play. You'll do the same and we'll be in sync for this video. And here we go. Haru 1960, Showa 35, Day 4, 3, 2, 1. Futabayama, Taiho, Chianofuji, Archive. Alright, first up, Uragawa against Hoshi Kabuto. Hoshi Kabuto, a veteran from the Zutsu stable, spent a few years as a Maegashira. Now he's moving between divisions. Gets to the throat and chest. Uragawa keeps moving forward. And that does the trick, forcing out Hoshi Kabuto and picking up his second win. So Uragawa moves even on 2 and 2. Hoshi Kabuto to 1 and 3, not looking like he's on his way back to Makunochi this time. Hanada continues his perfect start. He's 3 and 0 against Atagoyama. This is their first meeting. They are a 0-0 head-to-head. They bonk heads. Atagoyama gets a thrusting, then tries for a pull. Hanada is staying on his feet, keeping good footwork. Atagoyama gets to some furious thrusting. Now Hanada keeps parrying and dodging to the side, and then gets some sharp blows to the chest going of his own, and that's good enough for Atagoyama. So Hanada's fourth win continues his perfect start in Makunochi. Now Yoshinomine against Tsune Nishiki. Neither of whom's having a great start. Both kind of lighter weight wrestlers, should be relatively evenly matched. Tsune Nishiki, despite being so lowly ranked, is his best. Now they meet in the middle, a bit of kachiage from Tsune Nishiki, tries to the forearm. Now Yoshinomine does some slapping down and then finds his way to the outside left. Tries to barrel in, but Tsune Nishiki wheels around, and now they're back in the middle. Yoshinomine is not in as quite a strong position he was a moment ago. Tsune Nishiki's digging his head in to Yoshinomine's chest, trying to guard his belt, but Yoshinomine is stuck to him, and Tsune Nishiki doesn't have much of a grip, and now Yoshinomine is the one digging in, and crushes down Tsune Nishiki. The call went for Yoshinomine. There will be no mono-e. Yoshinomine did well to stick to Tsune Nishiki, regardless of how much hustling there was, just kept that grip on the belt. Now, Naruto Umi against Tokitsuyama. Tokitsuyama has quite the edge in their rivalry, 11-4. So he would be the favorite in this matchup. Noticeably heavier than Naruto Umi, who tops in low, but Tokitsuyama catches him. He's locked up the arm. Now diving in for a belt grip, but Naruto Umi's not having it. Gets to some pushing and slapping down. Tries for a leg kick. Now, Tokitsuyama swings him into him, pushes up on the throat. Narutomi works his way back to the middle of the ring, but Tokitsuyama just drives, moves him onto the edge. But Narutomi looks to me like he catches Tokitsuyama's leg, finally, with his own, and sends him toppling backwards. So, Narutomi beat the odds. These two are well-worn veterans in this top division. And so Narutomi moves to 2 and 2. Same for Tokitsuyama. Oikawa against Kane no Hana. Oikawa on 1 and 2. Kane no Hana, the inverse. Oikawa tries to grab the belt, then settles on the arm. Kane no Hana shuffles backwards and tries to slap down, but ends up toppling back. And that brings Oikawa to his second win, evening up on 2-2. So if Oikawa can score at least 9 or so, he should improve to his best rank. So I'm sure he's got plenty of motivation in this basho. Hyonomori against Wakanokuni. Younger men. Wakanokuni gets a thrusting. Hyonomori scrunches inside, but well, it looks to me like the call was made for Hyonomori, though by all appearances, he was the one crushed down. The finish was very fast, but good for him. Shinobuyama on 3-0 against Wakachichibu on 1-2. Wakachichibu has the edge in their rivalry, 3-1, though decidedly much less experienced than Shinobuyama, a former Sekiwake. Now Shinobuyama gets a Morozashi double inside very quickly, and he's hustling Wakachichibu to the edge and finishes him off. So fairly one-sided affair. Shinobuyama moves to his 4th straight win. Wakachichibu continues to struggle. Yeah, smartly played by Shinobuyama. Used his, got right to that double inside, and Wakachichibu didn't have much to say. Well, now, Wakamisugi against Haninishiki. Yeah, both younger wrestlers. I believe Haninishiki is only 24. I think Wakamisugi is around the same age. 23, 24. Can't quite get synced up here. So we'll try again. Alright. Now Haninishiki moves very quickly into Wakamisugi and gets that deep inside left. But as the right's caught high again, seems to be a recurring issue for him, and Kane no Hana twists around and shoves him outside Yorikiri. So Wakamisugi moves to his 3rd win here on day 4, looking good. Looking to improve his rank. Haninishiki 1-3, so he's struggling here near the bottom of the division. He'll want to pick up the pace if he wants to keep himself from being demoted. Fukudayama, Juryo regular against Waka Maeda, strong man from Takasago. Waka Maeda comes in low. Fukudayama moves his arms into the throat. Now he's pushing up on the armpits, Hazuoshi. Waka Maeda gets some distance and gets to thrusting, but Fukudayama closes back in. Now he gets under the right there, or he gets his right under Waka Maeda's left, and pushes from underneath, and that's good enough for him. So Fukudayama moves to his 3rd win. Waka Maeda, his 3rd loss. So, good effort from Fukudayama. Despite being, not a young man, I think he's about 28, he is not overly experienced in the top division. I think he's had some difficulty in really establishing himself here, so he's in good form this basho. Matsunobori, 1-2 against 0-3 Kaizan. In their head-to-head, Matsunobori has a decided advantage, 6-0. So Kaizan certainly has an uphill battle for this bout. Not quite synced up there. Not sure why Matsunobori certainly seemed to be waiting, but I think Kaizan couldn't quite get the motion right. And here we go again. Now Matsunobori kind of darts to the side after they make initial contact. Kaizan's shuffling for position. Matsunobori hooks his left arm on the right arm of Kaizan and swings him around. Bit of a kote, or maybe a kime dot. Well, I'd say it's a kote nage. He swung him with the arm. More of a throw than a push out. So Matsunobori moves to 2-2 and continues his dominance over the lightweight Nishonoseki fighter Kaizan. Matsunobori, of course, the Nobori from his name comes from his Shisho, the former Takanobori, who fought for the Takasago stable. Ogi no Hana against Tamahibiki, Taba Hibiki has a 3-0 lead on Ogi no Hana, so odds are in his favor. But Ogi no Hana is not phased, doesn't let the past dictate the future, and comes out with a very fierce two-handed charge to Tamahibiki's chest and sends him flying backwards out of the ring without really any response. So Ogi no Hana improves to 2-2. Tamahibiki is the same, 2-2. So one of Dewano Umi's younger men showing his stuff. Now the Shimpan are shuffling out. You can see just how tight the space is between the ring and the audience here. The Dikishi, the ringside Dikishi who are waiting for their bout are, well, they might as well be spectators. They have the same seats as the audience members behind them. Fusanishiki against Ao no Sato. Both relative, well, Fusanishiki's had a couple years of experience here. Ao no Sato is definitely the less experienced of the two. Fusanishiki tries to get a drive going, but Ao no Sato catches him. So in the end, Fusanishiki has to get pedaling, move to the side, and force down Ao no Sato with what looked to me like a kote nage, an arm twisting throw. Fusanishiki improves to 3-1. Looking good. You see, he's a pusher that can work on the belt too. You see how in this Tachiai he came out with his hands to the chest and made ready to drive, but because Ano Sato caught him, he had to make the adjustment and is able to do that. So Fusanishiki's looking good there. Tsurugamine against Komusubi Tochihikari. Tochihikari is behind in the rivalry, 6-9, so Tsurugamine should have the advantage here. Pushes up on the chest, then finds the belt, tries for a Makikai grip change, but Tochihikari's not letting him in. Tries again, but Tochihikari is still denying Tsurugamine his preferred grip. Doesn't matter, Tsurugamines get to driving. Tochihikari tries to get his own offense going, but now he's cut up pretty high. Tsurugamine's got a Morozashi, so this is it. He crushes out Tochihikari. Yoritaoshi to improve their head-to-head, or his lead in their head-to-head. It's 10-6 now in Tsurugamine's favor. Tsurugamine, the lead man from Izutsu stable, fights under his coach, his Shisho's old Shikona, or fighting name of Tsurugamine. His coach was also a Tsurugamine, so he does the old Tsurugamine proud, this Tsurugamine. Improving to 3-1. Tochihikari, his first loss of the Basho. He's been looking great so far, and he gave it a great effort there, so don't count him out just yet. Fuji Nishiki from Takasago against Kita no Nada from Tatsunami. Two fairly prestigious stables. Kita no Nada, the much more experienced of the two. Fuji Nishiki dives in low, a little too low, and Kita no Nada takes the opportunity to swing his overhand grip left over the back of Fuji Nishiki's belt and pulls him forward. Bit of Uwate Dashinage, sending him face first into the clay. So Kita no Nada, looking sharp as ever, improves to 3-1 here at the top of the Maegashira. So perhaps punching his ticket back to Sanyaku. We'll see. Now, Kashiwado, Shin Sekiwake on 2-1 against Waka no Umi. Komusubi, second consecutive Komusubi outing on 0-3, so not great shape. He comes in low, gets that outside grip, and that'll do. That'll do. Waka no Umi gets the outside on Kashiwado as he charges into him, pulls back, and lets him out of the ring. Sort of a matador maneuver. So smartly played sumo. Waka no Umi picks up his first win. So the Komusubi changed fortunes today. Tochihikari came in with a clean sheet and Waka no Umi without a win. And now their fortunes are changing direction. So we'll see how the rest of the Basho plays out for them. Annenyama against Dewa Nishiki. They have an even head-to-head, 9-9. Dewa Nishiki's doing slightly better in this tourney. He has a win. So he catches Annenyama relatively high, gets both arms around Annenyama's left, wrenching him upward. Not exactly the best position really ends up walking backwards and pulling Annenyama into him, so Annenyama sort of served up the win there at the end. I think Dewan Ishiki sort of second guessed his plan there, though it's not unusual for him to take that stance of two hands on one arm. In any event, Annenyama takes the edge in their rivalry and picks up his first win. So a good day for Annenyama. He's the younger of the two between him and Dewan Ishiki, so at this rate, it looks like he'll have the edge in their rivalry at the end of the day. Tamanoumi on 1 and 2 against Kitabayama on 3 and 0. So Tamanoumi comes in, tries to get some thrusting going, but Kitabayama's already low, head in the chest and an inside right. So he's in gear and twists around, crushing out Tamanoumi. So you see again there, Kitabayama always compensating for his height. When Tamanoumi tries to lift him off his feet to dull the charge, he jumps into him. A maneuver we've seen before. So Kitabayama improves to 4 and 0. The Kita in his name, of course, a reference to his home prefecture of Hokkaido. So he's Futabayama's northern student. Ohikari against Kotogahama. Kotogahama has an 11-5 edge against Ohikari in their personal rivalry. So comes in low. Ohikari gets to thrusting, pushes Kotogahama back, who's jockeying in, and then finds himself in front of Ohikari. Ohikari finds himself with his back to the edge, and Kotogahama finishes him off. So did well to weather Ohikari's counterattack, improving his head-to-head with him to 12 and 5. Kotogahama looking solid. Not quite a dominating performance, but perhaps he'll increase the momentum and build strength as the Basho progresses. Waka Haguro, the other Ozeki, on 2 and 1 today against Naruyama. Naruyama's only beating Waka Haguro once in their 9 meetings. Odds aren't in his favor. He jumps the gun there and then gives Waka Haguro a big shove, potentially out of frustration, though often you see these Rikishi, they don't want to let their potential energy get too bound up. If they went out ready to charge, then they gotta send it somewhere. Might be the theory. Naruyama comes in low. Waka Haguro gets to pushing on the chest. Naruyama's not deterred. He's fishing for that belt grip. Waka Haguro's not having it. He's pushing and trying to get his own sumo going. Now he's slapping down, moving back into the push. Naruyama still fishing for that belt. Waka Haguro finishes him off, pushing up on the armpit and sending Naruyama onto his back. So Waka Haguro improves his head-to-head with Naruyama to 9 and 1 and brings himself to 3 and 1 in this Basho. So looking like he'll do maybe a little better than his last outing. We'll see. Certainly seemed to know what he wanted to do in that bout. He had his own sumo in mind, and he didn't get broken from his preferred form. Looking good. Iwakaze, the older man from Wakamatsu stable, is a couple of years older than Fusanishiki, though has not made it as far as Fusanishiki in rank. Fusanishiki's already made Sekiwake, so Iwakaze's got some catching up to do. That said, Iwakaze is, I believe, a rank better than his old Shisho, or his current Shisho, I should say. Shachino Sato, I think his highest rank was Maegashira 3, so Iwakaze's certainly reached a milestone. Now against Wakanohana here. Iwakaze, the typical low tachiai, but Wakanohana takes that as a cue to push back down on his neck, come out to the rear, and get to an okuridashi. Iwakaze, not much of a response, so Wakanohana moves to his 4th victory. Perfect start continues. So Wakanohana is the lead wrestler at Hanakago stable. You'll note the Hanakago stable Dikishi all start their name with Waka. That's natural to assume it's in deference to him. And of course he takes his ring name from his Shisho's old ring name. His Shisho, Onomi, the former Onomi, now Hanakago, of course, started his career as Wakanohana, and so passed on his old name to his best student. Asashio against Shionishiki. Now he has a slight lead on Shionishiki, 5-3 in their personal rivalry, but I'd say on paper this is Shionishiki's best matchup for the Yokozuna. Asashio tries to barrel in, but Shionishiki gets that outside left, gets to work on trying for a throw. Asashio's bigger and stronger, but is potentially hampered by injury in this basho. Shionishiki tries to pop him in and over, but no good. Asashio's catching his breath. He's resting, leaning on the lighter man. And he's got longer arms. He should be able to get that outside grip going, and he wants to. Shionishiki's done a good job of minding his hips, keeping his right hip back, flaring his arm, not letting Asashio get into this preferred position. 2 hands is better than 1 when it comes to belt work, and so it could be said at this point that Shionishiki has the advantage. But as the match wears on, I think it favors Asashio. Locked up here for a while now. One waiting for the other to break grip, catching their breath. Looks like Naruyama, or Shionishiki, Shionishiki tries to break, but Asashio stays sturdy. He's big. One of the biggest men in this division. It's difficult to move him. And Shionishiki doesn't seem to have a way to break his stance as of yet. I would think he'd still want to use that outside grip to throw Asashio to his right, given that Asashio doesn't have a proper grip on that side. Well, hard to say. As of yet, it seems like he's... Here we go. Here we go. Tries for that throw. Can't make it happen. So they walk back a little closer to the middle here. Sort of where they started. Now Asashio tries for an inside grip throw, but that's no dice. So locked up still. They've both tried their throw. Neither is budging. Hard to say who's the more tired at this point. You'd think Shionishiki, having to carry a little more weight here. Asashio tries for something. Shionishiki responds. Grip change. Now we're on an outside right, inside left, and both Rikishi are on the belt at this point, so Shionishiki seems to have lost the advantage here in the grapple now that Asashio's got both hands on. And so it's a matter of time to see when the Yokozuna will want to make his drive. Yeah, the stalemate continues. They say the best defense is a good offense, and that's sort of the theory with belt fighting. If your opponent's got both hands on, it's a little more difficult to move them. Now, Asashio breaks the grip, pushes up on the armpit, and that'll do. Finishing off Shionishiki. Well, that was a long struggle. But in the end, the higher ranked, and for this basho so far, better performing wrestler comes out. Asashio evens up on 2-2. So turning things around at this early stage. Shionishiki yet to pick up a win. Now this Asashio is the third from Takasago. There were 2 previous Asashio, both Ozeki, so this is the most successful under that name. Taiho, Tochinishiki, first time meeting. And I think the odds are in Tochinishiki's favor here, all things considered. Taiho's ready, but a little too eager. They'll try to sync up again. Now we'll see what the game... not quite. Understandably, Taiho might be a little nervy here going up against the best wrestler in the division. But he's got a great body and it gets shoved out without too much issue. Might want to put on some weight, in fact. He's tall, but maybe a little light for his height, that Taiho. So Tochinishiki secures his 4th straight win without too much issue. Taiho falls to his 3rd loss. So it looks like he might be a little too high ranked. Maybe did too good for his own good in his debut. In any event, all three Yokozuna got a win today. Good day, Sumo. Thank you for joining me.